C'è il countdown?
Okay.
Okay. Hi everyone, and thank you for being here. Thank you also for the people that are attending online. Today we are here for a panel. I'm Luca, I'm a podcaster, and today I'm also an helper of the GDG Pisa DevFest. Sorry, we had some technical problems. And I'm here with Alessandro, that is my co-host on Pointer Podcast.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And first of all, I would like to thank the Google developer group here in Pisa because they organized this DevFest, and they also gave us the opportunity to organize this panel and to be the moderators of this panel. The panel will be in English. We have 4 amazing speakers of the conference, and today here in Pisa we have this amazing conference with almost 500 attendants and almost 40 speakers from all over the world. We were here also in 2019 during the last that was organized before COVID, and we are really happy to be here now as a moderator of this panel. We are really excited to start this panel. So thank you also to Nicola that helped us to organize this panel. And so I think that we can start. I don't know if you want to add something else.
I'm fine.
Okay, so let's start introducing the speaker that will be with us today. So our panelists today. So let's start from Yuna. She's a Microsoft MVP and a community leader in Rome. Then we have Carlo, that is a Flutter GD. Hi, Carlo. And then we have Thomas, that is a GD for Firebase, and Elisa, that is a GD for conversational AI. So first of all, I ask you to introduce yourself in just 1 minute. So let's just introduce yourself and describe your background and what is your expertise.
Okay, so hi everybody. As we said before, I'm Yuna. I'm from GDG Rome. I'm actually co-leading the GDG along with other amazing people. And I started programming a long time ago, and it was actually on a Commodore 64. And that started definitely a passion. And even if my studies was centered on humanities, after the school, I just closed the Greek vocabulary and ran to the PC to program. And then I became a software developer. And that's where I am now. And I had the chance to join the fabulous GDG ecosystem. And that's awesome. And that's why I'm here today.
Cool. What's the topic of your talk here today?
I'll be talking about observability. So something which is related to distributed system. And I think that now it's really...
And it will be in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So if you're interested, be sure that you don't miss this talk. Now, Carlo, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, so I'm Carlo, GD for Flutter and Dart and the admin of Flutter Italia. I had some experience in Android also, because I started as an Android developer, basically from scratch. I like to say I'm a Android developer since Eclipse, if you can remind it. And then I discovered Flutter and fell in love with that. So I started it, and one thing led to another, and then I basically do that as a full-time job for a remote company, and I'm really happy with that.
Okay. Also for us, the same question. What will be your talk today? What will be about?
My talk was, because it was already before this panel, about adaptive layout in Flutter. Basically, an overview on the option you have to give the user a better user experience while dealing with different screen size.
Okay. So, Thomas.
Hi everyone, my name is Thomas. I'm from Uruguay, South America. I'm a GDE for Firebase. I'm also organizing GDG Montevideo a little bit over a year now. and I'm also a mentor for Google for Startups Accelerator in Latin America, and I'm a lecturer at the university in Montevideo. I teach software architecture there. I've been involved in like mentoring and teaching for 6-7 years now, and that's when I like discovered my passion for helping others and spread my knowledge. So I am a speaker now for the past couple of years, mainly focusing on Firebase, which is the topic that I like the most, and recently became a GD.
That's very cool. Have you already gave your talk today?
No, my talk is going to be in 2-3 hours. I'm going to be speaking about building a serverless backend using Firebase Cloud Functions. So serverless is a new paradigm of our architectures. I really like it, and Firebase is the tool that Google provides for developers to build serverless backends.
Okay, cool. So, Elisa, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello, I am Elisa. I am a developer advocate at Amity. I am an Android developer by heart, in heart. I'm also a developer advocate for an Android developer for like almost a decade now. So Carlos, I feel for that eclipse. I've been an organizer for the GDGs in 2 countries. That was Greece, where I'm originally from, but also the Netherlands, that I moved there. I was there for 7 years. And also for the Women Tech Makers. And I've been an organizer of multiple events. And then after being an organizer, I started giving talks. And the past couple of years, I've also done a lot of mentoring, especially to people in underrepresented groups.
Okay. And as the others, what's your talk about? Have you already gave your talk?
I already gave my talk. It was how you can add social features to any type of application.
Okay.
So I guess that you gave a lot of talks up to now during your entire life, but we want to ask you what was the first talk that you gave, what was about, and who pushed you to give that talk?
Okay, so for me, my first talk, I gave it at the GDG. To be honest, I was not really aware that I was going to give a talk, because it came out of the blue. And they just rushed me in front of all the people, and I had to talk about web development, and it was like, oh my god, I have to do this now, and I have no kind of preparation whatsoever. And I was pretty shy before, so it was quite an experience for me, but it actually came up to open a whole world of speaking opportunities, and I think that improved also my way of interacting somehow. Yeah, so that's it. And actually I was rushed by Antonella, which is the other co-leader of the GDG. So yeah, GDG gave me my first chance to speak in front of the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carlo?
My first experience with a talk was for the DevFest Mediterranean, organized by GDG Catania and GDG Nebrodi. Actually, my talk was at the GDG Catania event because it was a series of 2 events, and it was about a library that I created for Android because we had a really specific need about having complex touch handling in an image. And someone of the GDG Catania asked me, why don't you talk about this library on your on our DevFest? I was like, what is a talk? Was I supposed to do? But from there it was like, okay, I like this thing, I can do it more.
Thomas?
So I think my first experience as a speaker was actually probably speaking about Firebase. This is a topic that I handle. I feel comfortable handling it because, as I said before, I'm a lecturer at the university, and like 3 or 4 years ago, I started a new subject called serverless architectures, and one of the tools that we use there is actually Firebase. And I think my first talk was, Firebase in general, because like 2 or 3 years ago, there wasn't a lot of people that knew about that technology and knew about serverless. So I was really focused on introducing serverless and what does it mean to have a serverless architecture. And then I showed examples of Firebase and the different services that we have there. So I think that was like my first experience with a lot of people, like probably like younger people, like college students, university students.
Okay.
For me, it was a more complicated experience. I think there was like 3 talks in a row that actually made me go through that path. The first one, I was the kind of person that I would never go on stage or even like raise my hand or like have questions. Like absolutely no. I would walk away if I had to. So I was one of the organizers for the DevFest in Greece, and we had to deliver a welcome note, and that welcome note was about like 30 minutes because it had like the sponsors and everything. It was 300 people, and my partner in crime couldn't make it, so I had to deliver that in front of 300 people. I cried before, I cried after, but I did it. And after that, I was with a colleague of mine. He was having a technical presentation on Android. We did the slides together. Of course, I would never go on stage, so he would deliver it himself, but he fell sick like hours before the event. And someone had to do that. I was the only one that knew the slides, so I had to do that. So I went on the stage again. A lot of cry before, a lot of cry after, but I still did it. And then the second time, the second like official thing, it was I was still working at that colleague, and he was like, "Well, you know what? You should go on stage and have this presentation." I was like, "You know what? Sure, I'll do that."
Okay.
And that's how I started.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I think that it's important to speak about these things because other people that want to start giving talks can learn something and can understand that it's good to start even if you're not an expert speaker and even if you are not an expert in some specific field. So it's always good to hear this experience. And what you have in common is that all of you are speakers. And what we would like to ask you now is how does being a speaker, or also more generally, I would say being a community leader, how does this impact your job? It has an impact, or maybe it could not, but let's start from Yuna.
I think that it's a way to challenge yourself against some kind of things you don't know very well, and speaking in some way forces you to elaborate, to understand and elaborate all the things you want to know better, in a better and a better way, because you have to be able to explain those things more concisely and clearly as possible to other people, and they does not have necessarily the background to understand those things at all. So I think that it's very challenging, and it's very, very important also to grow as a professional.
Okay, Carlo?
I actually also wanted to expand on that because basically one important thing that people say is you never truly know an argument until you can't explain to someone that actually doesn't know that. But for me, my experience in speaking and in community basically is the core of my work. Not that I work for that, but I think I started to grow as a developer since I started doing public speaking. Basically, before I was self-contained in my knowledge, but now during conference I meet people, I network with people, and I learn when I prepare a talk, and also I meet a lot of people that actually help my career grow. My current company where I work, I know about that because of the community. Because if it wasn't for the community, I would probably never heard about this company, and I'm really happy that happened.
Okay, thank you, Carlo. And what about you, Thomas?
So in my opinion, yes, absolutely, it has helped me with my job. I have like a leadership position and management position in my company. So being a speaker and being able to have a word on what I know and being able to explain it concisely and it has definitely helped in my company, like being able to help others in my company, being able to help other developers, being able to explain a problem. And I think it really, like, it's a something that complements my day-to-day job.
Okay. And you, Elisa?
I totally agree. It definitely helped me grow. I'm also the one person that actually did this full-time job. So I switched from a developer to a developer advocate because through also being an organizer, like a community leader, but also a speaker, it made me realize how much energy and passion I have for helping other developers. And for me, it's the best time is just going to the conferences and hearing questions, for instance. And you definitely don't know all the answers, but it's that time that you're going to sit down with that person to figure out a solution to a problem that you might never had otherwise. So this is how it helps me grow.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess that it was. You were really happy when you were able to start again going live to conferences.
Definitely.
I think that it's the same for the others.
Yeah, obviously.
So we would like to push people to give talks, and so we want to talk about your feelings when you give a talk. In particular, we want to ask you what was your most challenging talks that you gave in your past, and have you handled the talk if there was something wrong that was happening? I don't know.
Okay, for me, the most challenging talk I've delivered, it was for a machine learning community. I was really, really scared because the theme of the talk, it was about GANs and TensorFlow, and definitely something which is really, for a really, really educated audience. And I was pretty scared because I expected a lot of questions and a lot of very, very deeply technical questions from the audience. And I went there and I was extremely prepared about everything. And then I had a very, very few questions, but they weren't not so much technical, so it was definitely manageable for me. Okay, but it was quite an experience. I knew that the talk was, let's say, in October, and I began preparing the material in July. So I wanted to be there and to be extremely prepared about everything.
Carlo?
It's a difficult question because there are several challenging talks I had, but I want at least to give a special mention to my first talk, because as I said, it was a completely new experience for me, and it was the most difficult one because I never had one and I didn't know about that. But my favorite challenging one was during a meetup where I was supposed to do a talk about Android Thing implementation, but then the host, I don't know how we miscommunicated that, told that during the introduction that I was about to give a talk about TensorFlow. Luckily, I had already talk about TensorFlow ready, because I had it in the past. I was really lucky. And I was like, okay, I have a couple of hours because I didn't was the first speaker. So I said, okay, I'm taking the challenge. So I meshed up the slides and I actually had a talk about TensorFlow implementation on Android Things, because I said, I have the slide about Android Things, I don't want to lose that. And I even managed to do a live presentation of the artistic transfer on the. It was a great experience, a really fun one, but definitely a challenging one.
Thank you. Thomas?
So after Carlo, it's difficult, you know. No, but yeah, I remember like two different ones because there are different challenges. So one challenge for me was when I was a speaker at GDG in New York. It was a challenge for me because it was the first time that I was going to be speaker outside of my hometown and in another language, because obviously like my first language is Spanish, so it was in English, and I think those two elements made it challenging, but it was great. And then the other one is the first time I was speaker at a DevFest. It was DevFest Latin America, and I would say that was challenging because the audience was very, very technical. So normally when I speak about serverless and Firebase, because it is not a topic that everybody knows, I try to give talks more like for beginners or intermediates. But this was the very first time I gave talks for very advanced audience, right? So that was challenging, but really fun as well.
Okay. Did you receive a lot of questions that?
Yes, I did, and it was a very nice exchange because normally I receive like questions of a beginner or intermediate level, but when you receive an advanced question, it's more like not me providing the full answer, but like exchanging opinions and all of that. So it was definitely interesting.
For me, it was a very specific one. Like after that, I thought that I can handle basically anything. First of all, it was a very big conference in the US. And I already knew that there are going to be like at least 800 people there. There were also native speakers. I am originally from Greece, so I'm very comfortable with English, but still like talking in front of native speakers is a whole new level. So I was already anxious before the talk. And then I went into the room. And I'm always like pacing when I'm giving talks. Like I don't really like being confined somewhere, you know. And they put me in a podium, and they told me like, yeah, we have to wire you up because we have like an online streaming, and we also have like the video for later on. So you have to be over here. I was like, okay, I'll do that. But the thing is that the slides were behind me. And we also had some issues with, I was using like the Google Slides, and if you see like the preview is this small, so I couldn't actually see the code that I had on those slides. And the slides being behind me, I had to be like this the whole time, which was a disaster by itself. And then 3 microphones failed. I started talking, it stopped working. I started talking again with a new microphone and it stopped working. And that happened 3 times. After the third one actually stopped, I told the organizers, like, I'll start yelling and people will hear me. I don't want another microphone. And I went down after the talk feeling completely beaten up and crushed. Because for me, it was the ultimate disaster. But I had like so many good comments about the slides and the content by itself, and people really didn't care that much about the delivery. They were laughing. Okay. I mean, I would laugh too if I was not on stage. But yeah, that was by far the worst experience that I had as a speaker.
Okay. I want to ask you a curiosity. Since we want to push people to give talk, I think that one of the most scariest thing is okay, how do I handle those situations when people ask me something that I have not an answer for that? Okay, I don't know what is the answer. So how do you handle those situations? Do you have a technique to postpone the question? I don't know.
Yeah, generally I admit it.
Okay.
This is something that I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons why this happened. Maybe it's too technical. It can totally be. But we can maybe discuss the answer later, go there and just search and try to find an answer. Okay. So for me, it's totally okay. It would be probably worse if I go out and just saying things that I don't really know about. So for me, it's better to to discuss later.
Carlo?
Yeah, basically the same, because trying to talk about things that are out for a short amount of time, you often find that people may even know more than you. So I plain say, I don't know, I'm curious now because you made a good point. if I know some way to maybe handle the same things, but without actually knowing how it works, I say, I will personally do it this way, but probably there is a better way, but I don't know that. And it even happened that you start some discussion with the people that make the question, and it actually you have some good feedback. But you should never be afraid to say I don't know, because there are like, for example, for Flutter, 20,000, 30,000 of libraries. It's normal that I don't know every one of that.
Thomas?
Yeah, no, totally. I think people really don't expect you to know everything, right? Like, because especially in this industry, there's so many things that you can use, you can implement, that it's crazy to expect that you know everything. So it really depends on the question. If it's a very specific question that has like one correct answer and I don't know it, like it's like, I mean, I don't know it, like we can Google it together. But if it's an open question and it's not like my expertise, like I try to like, so I don't know, I'm not an expert in this, but I feel like I would go in this direction because blah, blah, blah.
Okay, thank you. Lisa?
Yeah, I totally agree. I also do the same. If I don't know something, I'll just tell them, like, I really don't know, but now I'm curious. So let's meet like after the talk over there so that we can Google it together. Also, something that happens a lot is questions that are too specific over something. And they say like, so I have this application that it's having this structure and it's doing this. And I'm like, okay, this is like very specific. So I can totally help you, but let's have this after the talk because it's not something that is relevant for all the rest. I think that like those are like the two type of questions that you get. But if you would go on stage just because you know everything, no one would be on stage. We wouldn't have events like this because it's just impossible.
If I may add small things, because
Yeah.
there is actually one kind of question that as a speaker it's frustrating to deal with, and you don't know the answer for that. Because sometimes people ask something completely out of context of your talk.
Okay.
In that case, I actually say, I don't know, but even if I know the answer, I say, I know that, but if you want, we can discuss after, because it's not on the topic of what we are talking about.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think that this was a really good question because it's important to know how to handle this kind of situations. And I like the things that you say, Carlo, about don't be afraid to say I don't know something. Yeah, it's important, and it's a good takeaway message for the people that are listening the panel.
There are actually more things that I don't know than the one I know.
Yeah, I think it's the same for all of us.
For everybody, yes.
Yeah, for everyone. And we are moving to the end of this panel. We have just one last question, I would say. And we know that you are all experienced speakers. You have a lot of talks in your career. What we want to ask you is why you still give talk. Is there anything that motivates you today to give talk? And are you still learning something new when you give a talk? And is it useful to your growth and to develop new soft skills?
Yeah,
Let's start with you now, as always.
I think definitely yes. I love to deliver talks because they are a way to challenge myself and to bring to people my passion for technical topics. So this is definitely a way to show some kind of passion for these things, and maybe also to raise some kind of interest in the technology for other people.
Okay.
Also for me, definitely yes, because basically it's for me a learning tool. If I want to learn something in depth, usually I prepare a talk about that. And also what I really like is the networking that come out after you give a talk, because people are curious, you talk with people, and that for me is the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was going to say the same. So the best part is the networking and getting to know and meet fantastic people, like not only speakers but also like the audience. And I think, yeah, the two things that you mentioned, like challenging yourself and also like the networking part is great. And then obviously, being able to spread the word about a certain technology that you really like, and you think it would be great if it had like a bigger adoption. So yeah, that's my opinion.
And you, Elisa?
Well, there is not much to add on top of this. I mean, it's the same thing for me. I'm also the kind of person that gets energy from like other people. So I was spending like during the pandemic, all of us, we spent like all of the time going from our office chair to the sofa and back. And I've never felt more tired in my life by doing nothing, but I've never felt more tired in my life because I just couldn't recharge my batteries. There was no way to recharge your batteries. Well, you come to events like this, you get inspired, first of all. You get motivated by just getting questions and like talking to people and seeing like how everyone's advancing. For me, for my mentoring sessions, nothing gives you like more energy and like more motivation than seeing someone getting their first job in tech, for instance, after trying like 20 different career paths and ending up in like what they wanted since day one, but they never had a chance.
Yeah, this is something that I really like from our field of expertise, because we can always learn something new, and we can talk with someone that you don't know, and we can learn something that maybe it will be useful in the future. And I think that this is amazing. So we are going to finish this panel. I don't know if you want to add something else. Do you have time to add something else? No? Okay.
I just want to add one thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember who said it, but there was a quote that really helped me going on stage, both like the 2 times and then like normally. There are 2 kind of people in this planet: the ones that are afraid to go on stage and the ones that are lying about this.
So
I don't know if that was great.
So you're still afraid when you go on?
Definitely.
When you go talk?
Definitely. And it is my job. That should say enough, right? But if you're not like not afraid but stressed, if you're not stressed, it means that you don't care anymore, you know.
Yeah, but I think that it's important to be a bit scared, because if you are too confident and if you are sure that you will not do any mistake, I think that it's in that moment that you will.
I think that then it means that you just don't challenge yourself enough.
Yeah.
I think if you're a little bit scared, it means that it matters to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we are finishing this panel. I want to thank you again for being here during this interview. So thank you, Yuna, Carlo, Thomas, and Elisa. And Yuna will have her talk in the afternoon. So if you are interested, you can attend the talk. You already gave your talk.
Yeah. That's Thomas, right?
Yeah, mine as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you again. I would like to thank again the GDG Pisa for allowing us to do this panel, and again Nicola to allowing us to do this. It's really important for us. It was a pleasure to be here and to give it this talk. Can I have just 30 seconds for self-promotion?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So as we say, we have a podcast. Unfortunately, it's in Italian, so if you don't speak Italian, maybe it's not for you, but if you speak Italian, this is our podcast. It's called Pointer Podcast. You can find us on every platform like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, even on our website. And we have also a chat on Telegram to discuss with other people. And if you find us today during this DevFest, during this conference, reach out to us, and we will be really happy to meet you today in person and also this evening at the after party.
Yeah, we have a lot of stickers, so if you
Yeah.
see us, then stop us and we will give you some stickers. Yeah.
Yeah, this is really important. Everyone loves stickers, so. So thank you again, and I think that we can close your panel. And thank you again for attending the panel. If you attended the panel online or in the other room. Thank you and see you. Bye.
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 Bye.